The movie Bridesmaids has a character named Annie, which is Christine Wiggs, who's actually the co-writer of the movie. Her character is essentially hitting rock bottom. She has to pass her bakery every day, which failed and was shut down, and she walks past it as she walks to her new job, which is basically the last place she wants to be working. And on top of this, her boyfriend is gone, so now she's putting up with her so-called friends with benefits guy. And Lillian, who is her best friend from childhood, got engaged and has asked Annie to be her maid of honor. There are other bridesmaids in the bridal party, and they're all very different from each other, which makes the group very dynamic. Yeah. One of the bridesmaids is Helen, who is wealthy and a beautiful friend to Lillian, which of course immediately gets under Annie's skin since her life is what seems to be falling apart. They get into this weird competition for Lillian's attention and to be the best for her, basically. So the critics are saying that this is a funny, smart, tender, brutal, and gentle movie. A quote that I wanted to talk about and reflect on is, they quote in this critique is, "It's a new feminist revolution in Hollywood comedy. Before this, women were marginalized or treated as second-class turns in Hollywood." Later on, they mention that it shows that women's relationships with each other rather than with men. And I searched more about this and women's roles in movies and found that in the past there was I might pronounce this wrong, the Bechdel test, and it's a test that is a measure of representation of women in fiction, and it asks whether a work, so a movie or something, features at least two women who talk to each other about something other than a man. And it was first told through 1985 through a comic strip of two women who are going to see a film only if it satisfies three of the following rules. So the movie has to have at least two women in it who talk to each other about something other than a man. This was put into place and was looked at in films all over, and there was a variety of films that did not pass the test. Although in this movie's Bridesmaids, it's important to note that this movie shows women's relationships with each other, not men. The idea of this is that these characters are not the typical single girl qualities. Instead, they have competitive sense of themselves at home and business and in the real world. In addition, there's another part that in Bridesmaids that is particularly interesting, how it offers a male-seeming dimension that is not featured in all of the other sugary, girly rom-coms, treatments of engagement, bridal showers, weddings, ceremonies, etc. And that was a quote, this is showing that there's a different side to women that men are honestly okay with, and they're okay with watching and they're interested in watching. That there's no reason to have women play this role of sexual and men-obsessed traits and habitats. They can be other things. Okay, so from another critic review, I learned about how the casting of the movie's Bridesmaids was. And they said that because Jude's power with the studio, they were able to make we got to make a movie filmed with women who are not on the A-list. This quote shows to me that they're giving women a chance. And by this, I'm meaning that not the women who are always getting the roles, but giving other women a chance to show what they're acting and how they can do. This is also reflecting back to the breakthroughs and the opportunities like these that are able to show and reflection the value on women, that they're now getting more of a chance rather than before. But what I think is the coolest thing about the reason why the Bridesmaids works is because Kristen, who played Annie, was able to hire all of her friends, and these are people that she's actually worked with before, and this movie works so well, and the chemistry between them, because it was actually true and it was actually real.